Hello everybody and welcome to a deck building video with me and Eric here, a live deck building, and this one is a little bit of a doozy. Eric pitched to me an idea and it took a while for us to get here because I think it was a very daunting challenge to try to figure out. And Eric asked a question of, with the great work, is there ever a point where you would choose to die? Where you would choose to die with the great work and then become the homunculus? And originally I was like, it's going to be hard to find something because the homunculus is a downside. It's designed to be bad. So we started by looking at, would there be a reason that you would want to die early and be able to get this +2 on spells? And we started focusing on Amina Zidane. But then we looked at all the spells and it was kind of just like, this is still a downgrade because Amina Zidane still has 3 brain, right? So like it's not that big of a difference between the two. Then we also started to look at spells in other classes to see if there was something that we could work with. Unfortunately, we couldn't find anything. But we eventually came and started to focus on you cannot add, remove, or upgrade cards from your deck. And this is where we started to try to get an idea. And Eric had an interesting thought process, which was, what if the intention was before you die, you exile a bunch of cards from your deck to make it better? But the problem with that we found was that there was really no investigator that would make the deck small enough for that to really be worth it. Because who was our, I guess...
Ashcan Pete was pretty much our only one.
We could do Agnes Baker. She does play Mystic 5 and Survivor 0. We could still get some good exile cards in there.
Maybe.
Not as many, so that's something we could consider. But I think what we have found to be, I think, the most appealing option here is that we're going to... This is all kind of like in theory, because we couldn't find any clarification or if this works or not. But let me just hide this for a second as I put up the rules for exile on the screen. Because we couldn't really find an official ruling. And for all I know, it could already have been in some email that someone got but hasn't shared in an actual thing here. But we looked at all the reviews, we looked everywhere, and we couldn't figure out how this worked. So, again, back to the great work. You cannot add, remove, or upgrade cards from your deck. Some player cards must be exiled when they are used. When a card is exiled, it is removed from the game and returned to your collection. That is removing from your deck.
Yes.
So we thought, well, it was mostly Eric was like, this could be something. And you know what? I think Eric's right. Of all the ideas for why you would want to become the homunculus, this is probably the closest reason that you have to it. Where the idea is that you exile cards and then you basically get like a deja vu, which is a card that pays you back in exile without having to pick up that card. Now you might say, but just spend the experience that you would have got from upgrading to put those exiled cards back in and stay as your original investigator. You're not wrong. But Eric still wanted to know if this was possible, so we're going to try to build a deck where this is kind of the goal.
Now, of course, obviously, if the ruling comes out that they are indeed removed by exile or some other odd thing happens, this entire deck is a fluke. It cannot function the way that it's claimed to.
Yes, but...
For all we know, the ruling will be, oh yeah, once you lose too many cards and you can't technically replace them, you just die.
But then it becomes one of those things where maybe then this deck can be revisited shifted with the idea of you load in a bunch of exile cards and some other good cards, then try to make your deck really small. Like, the idea can change.
The only thing is, as I'm saying, is maybe their ruling will be like, no, the exiled cards are still left, and because you can't buy new ones, you just die because you don't have the minimum investigator pool.
But the thing though, that actually doesn't change that is that this guy doesn't have deck building rules. So they don't care about how many cards are in his deck.
Oh.
So that could be something that we could definitely take advantage of. So yeah, this, as Eric's 100% right, this deck might not be legal. This deck might not work. I think you should not play this deck. I think that's also a very important thing. If you want to have like a great time playing Arkham, this would be a bad deck to bring to your table. Everyone would be like, what the hell are you doing? But sometimes it's fun to just try ideas out. So we're going to build an Ashcan Pete deck because I think that he was the better user for this card.
Yeah.
So the only downside is that Ashcan Pete is going to get... Oh, no. He only has 2. because he has Duke and Racked by Nightmare. So he's still only going to get 2 random basic weaknesses. So we're going to call this one Ashcan Pete is a clay man made of clay. Okay. Parallel back is still 30. We don't want to frick with that. I think we just run it like this. Okay. So, let me move this over here. Make this a little bit nicer looking for everybody. Let me get the scans. And so this one's going to be a bit different. With the previous ones, we built like a level 0 deck and start doing an upgrade plan. With this deck, what we're going to do is we're going to find the deck that you want to die with. Yeah. Like where the transition happens when you're no longer Ashcan Pete and you are instead Clayman. Another thing, too, is that I think that in theory it might not be bad to, even if there's some bad exile cards, like if there's like some that we want to run with, there could be some exile cards we aim to lose in that scenario before we become the Homunculus.
Absolutely.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put the Great Work in here as one of our 5 splash cards, because we get 5 of them.
True.
What we're also going to do is we are going to quickly grab one of these 2 cards, and we're either going to run it as a 1 of or a 2 of. So each non-elite enemy engaged with you is defeated. You are defeated and suffer 1 physical trauma. So this is a way for us to die on command.
Okay.
Which I think is very important. We need to have this in our deck.
Yeah.
Ghastly Revelation, on the other hand, is discover 3 clues of your location, give any number of the clues to another investigator, or place any number of your clues on any location. You are defeated and suffer 1 mental trauma. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. So I think before we decide on which one makes the cut, we should look at exile cards.
Yeah, and see which ones overall are going to fit best.
Yes. So what we'll do is we'll just go exile. And then I'll get rid of event, and we'll kind of just look to see what we have here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think things that we need to be aware of is the ability to live.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we die as the Homunculus a second time, we're gone for good.
We're dead forever.
But luckily Survivor is very good at living forever. So we have Cherished Keepsake. When Cherished Keepsake is defeated by Horror, exile it.
Sick.
But it would just... I honestly don't know what would happen when it's defeated. Like, again, it's removed from the game and returned to your collection. So I feel like what happens... Because, again, I couldn't find any actual official. There was all just theory crafting for what people thought happened. And in my mind, an exile card is removed from your deck.
Yeah.
It's removed from the game. So the first part happens, but the second part doesn't, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I feel like that's removing from your deck.
Yeah.
Again...
Well, I would even argue it cannot be removed from the game because it cannot be removed from your deck.
So then it just gets discarded? Yeah, cannot is absolutely just gets discarded instead.
Yeah, since cannot be trumped, and instead the normal rules apply.
And people have been saying that is the way. Like, that does make sense.
So I think we need 2 of those.
Yeah, and there's also Leather Coat.
Oh, yeah.
So we have, like, these... So the nice thing about exile cards is that they're very cheap on experience because they kill you. Because they don't kill you, they go away.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not going to look at these ones yet. We're just going to kind of look at some... I think these are some staples that we need. We need 2 copies of Burn After Reading. So you exile level 0 to 5 cards from your hand. So this is interesting. Do we think that that's a cost? It probably is, or is this the cost? Discard Fire Extinguisher, you may exile... Sorry, this one. This one we can't play, because that's a cost. Exile Fire Extinguisher. And we cannot choose to remove something from our deck.
Yeah.
So I think we can't play this one.
I think we also can't play Burn After Reading then.
Alright, I think that's fair.
Because that is a cost, right?
No, so it's an effect. It's like, I don't know if it is an actual cost of the thing. No FAQ entries available. Open an Arkham DB. Let's just search exile. I'm thinking of used to go to the exile copy by your hand. I feel like you have to, because you have to do the whole card.
Yeah.
So I think we can't play Burn After Reading.
Okay.
Because you can't play Burn After Reading if you have no cards in hand.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But we can play Flare. So fight, you get +3 fists and deal +2 damage to this attack, exile Flare.
Yeah.
Search the top 9 cards of any investigator's deck for an ally asset and put it to play under your control, then exile Flare and shuffle the search deck.
Perfect.
So this only lets us attack at 5.
Yep.
So we need to just be aware of that. And we obviously want to figure out our goal is to figure out how much XP we have in this deck, but we don't want that number to be crazy high if we want to do what the goal of this deck is.
Absolutely. Although, arguably, it just means that, like, the part of the goal of the deck is just if you die, the Homunculus is not a bad side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Homunculus doesn't have to be an upgrade. It just has to be not a bad thing. So more exiled cards is better. Now, this one is interesting because it's still max 1 per game.
Yes, so it's probably not worth it.
No.
Yeah.
But it's worth keeping an eye on because...
This is like in the gravy. You know what I'll do?
Yeah.
I'll put it in the gravy side for if you do want to live longer.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this deck is very bad if you don't become the Homunculus, because you have no way to pay for these exile cards when you eventually want to start doing them. Stroke of Luck. Committed to skill this performing as really chaos on this test. You may just choose to exile Stroke of Luck. So this is a cost. So we can't play that.
We can't play this.
These ones might be doable. Fast play and investigate a location, draws a non-destructory card, cancel the card's revelation effect, then test brain 3 if you fail, exile it. Which this one is just fast play when investigate a location, draws a non-destructory, cancel that card's revelation effect.
So this one we can play, not the upgrade.
We can play both of them because this one's a penalty for failing this test.
Oh, okay.
But this one's 1 XP cheaper, which gets us lower to the ground for where we want to be to become the Homunculus.
We're happier with that.
I think we want 1 copy of Unscrupulous Loan. So after you play it, gain 10 resources, and when the game ends or you're eliminated, if you have fewer than 10, exile it. So this is just like 10 resources that we can get in our deck at some point.
Yep.
We don't want the Council's Coffer. It's just not, we're never going to pick this lock. We need to do any skill 5, and we have all 2s.
Yep.
I think Guiding Spirit's probably good.
Yeah, you get +1 book.
Yeah, and non-direct horror must be assigned to it instead. We could run this over the Cherished Keepsake, or we could run both.
I would run both.
We could see what else we have in the accessory slot, and maybe something changes. But I think that is here. And then I don't think we frick with Fire Extinguisher. I think it's not the way. Because it's just, we're not fighting at 3 fist.
No.
Like, Flare gets us to 5, so that's better. Okay, now what we need... So right now we're at 13 XP before we're at this point where we can start looping, in theory, these exile cards.
Yeah.
But we probably still want something to do. So there was that 1 card that I showed you, which was Enchanted Bow. So this is actually a spell that Ashcan can play.
Oh, sick.
So this is something that we could use, and it takes up our hand slots and one of our arcane slots. So we realistically would want 2 of these in the deck before we changed. And I think that this might be enough to do it.
Yeah?
This might be enough to kind of get to that point. The other thing I want to do is look at remove. So this one is remove from the game. No, so that's still in your deck. I don't think there's ways to remove cards from your deck between scenarios.
Other than burn after, yeah.
Yeah, other than burn after reading. So I think what you realistically actually want to do is that thing that I talked about, where I think burn after reading, you want to actually... So we're going to put 2 of them in, but the goal during that scenario is to take your deck size down by 4.
Yeah.
Right, so you're going to want to burn your burn after reading and then like 2 other cards from your deck.
Yeah.
To get down to 26. Because I think that's the only card that exiles...
Another card as well.
Another card. So we're looking at 19 XP, I think is the button we want to hit. So what we want to do is we want to...
Well, what are we at now for XP?
19.
Okay.
So I think this is the deck that you want before you go, and then I think, again, you do the 2 burn after readings. So here's the other thing, though, about burn after reading. You can't play the card, so it just becomes a wild. So it doesn't actually work. So I think, the plan is get rid of these.
Yeah.
You get to 19 XP and you just burn some cards that you don't want to see. Ideally, we're going to want 1 of these I'll See You in Hell. It's pretty easy to die. I don't think we need 2 of these.
No.
And if you can find another way to die, it's probably worth it to burn this. The reason why I think the I'll See You in Hell is good is because it has 2 fist icons, which help with our flare.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have Cherished Keepsake also, again, might not make the cut depending on if we get accessory slots, if we find some. So why don't we look at that? Why don't we see if there's anything here in the accessory slot? Only at level 0 because of reasons.
Yep.
And you know what we should also quickly do? Hello, Russ. You're on the keyboard.
Well, and how many cards are we Ashcan peating right now of our 5?
We have 3 more that we can put in here.
Okay.
So there's going to be a lot of stuff there. But I think what we should do quickly is we should look at what spells Ashcan Peak can play.
True.
All right, I'm going to start with just Survivor. Bad news.
Bad news.
There's nothing. No other filters on here, huh? That's it. Can you play upgraded? Yeah. You can play upgraded. Oh, yeah. They got motorcycles. Okay. So none of these spells are really great. I mean, like, you could, in theory, grab, like, a Sixth Sense to be able to investigate at a number that's not awful. Mm-hmm. Right? We could run this, so investigate using your brain instead of books. You can investigate for 4. Yeah. Right? So you can get clues still.
Oh, this would give the +2?
Yeah, because it's a spell.
Okay.
So that's not, like, a bad option. It's also not a terrible level 0. You could run Spectral Razor. So this lets you attack at 6. So, like, I think in a perfect world, you want them at 1-ups, right? You want, like, Spectral Razor. Mm-hmm. You want to read the signs. Mm-hmm. And then I think you'd want a Sixth Sense. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just because then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spells that you can also take advantage of.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good use of
Can we still run I See You in Hell then?
Yeah, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get 5 cards. Okay, I think that's pretty all right. This deck, again, everyone watching at home, it's not good, but Eric had a thought, and we're actually making it a reality.
Yeah.
If there was someone that we didn't like, we'd play this with them. We'd be like, Eric's playing Arkham, and then it's just like, oh no. All right, accessory. Okay, some interesting choices here.
Some interesting choices actually scroll up a bit.
Yeah.
One thing to consider is that unupgraded Sledgehammer just adds a ton of...
It only adds 2, so it puts you to 4.
Okay. Not as good.
Yeah, and I think the bow is better because it lets us attack at 5 once a turn.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, some options here for our necklace slot. We have Rabbit's Foot. We're going to be failing a lot of tests. We can draw cards. We already have Cherished Keepsake, so we're looking at replacing like the upgraded version here. Mm-hmm. Idol of Xanatos lets us prevent taking damage or horror, which is kind of the same as the original Cherished Keepsake.
Yeah.
Right? And this one prevents us from taking oh no, this is the kind of it's a horror one for this. I think it probably is still just Cherished Keepsake.
Yeah.
And we run with that. We get an ally.
We do. And none of these allies are removed from the game, huh?
No, that's very rare.
I think we need to ask ourselves what we I don't think this can be a flex deck. I think it has to focus on one thing. So okay. I think we need to focus on whether or not we're a fighter.
Okay.
Or we are a clover.
Okay. Alternatively, I think this should be a flex deck designed for 3 players.
Okay.
I feel like this deck should not be played under 3 players. I feel like that's where you want to be.
Okay.
Because you're basically, I think with this deck is you're basically going to tell your teammates, I am not going to be contributing. There is a chance that this can all go wrong. Right?
That's fair.
And I think that in 2-player, this deck would be suicide. Like, this deck would be like, you would die in the next scenario. Because you'd just be like, I can't kill this enemy. And it's like, but you said you were the fighter, right?
Yeah.
But like in 3-player, there's a designated fighter and a designated clover who can pick up the slack, and you can just like pick up enough clues or like deal just like small bursts of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you can even use flare to, grab an ally for you, but it's probably better to... that you can grab from your teammates, but it's just better to do that. So that's kind of my thought on this.
Okay.
We're going to aim for we never build a 3-player deck, but that's where this deck's going to live.
Okay.
We do need to put in 11 more cards. Mm-hmm. Let me show you some ally options.
Yeah.
This guy is new. You haven't seen this guy. He's from the new core set, and he's probably pretty good. When your turn begins, heal 1 damage or horror from him, and he soaks for 2 and 2. He doesn't help contribute to the game, but he helps keep you alive.
Yeah. Lawrence
Carlisle gives you 1 book. And if you discard 1 or more cards from your hand during your turn, exhaust them and gain 1 resource. We're not going to really be doing that.
No.
Granny Orn gives us +1 brain, which lets us attack at 6 with our Enchanted Bow. Enchanted Bow is a cool card too. where it deals +1 damage, so it deals 2. As additional cost to initiate this ability, you may spend 1 charge to have this attack target a non-elite enemy at a connecting location. If you do, ignore the aloof and retaliate keywords.
Ooh.
Madame Lebranche gives us cards and resources if we run out. Peter gives us a bit of horror, but also +1 foot.
But we've kind of got that covered.
I think Granny Orrin would probably be the best. She's very expensive, but the nice thing, she also has when an investigate location would fail a skill test, exhaust it, they either fail by 1 less or 1 more. That can be relevant in some cases where there is, like, say, for example, Rotting Remains, where you take 1 horror for each point you fail by. If you fail by 1, you could use her to fail by 0 instead.
Exactly, yeah.
I think she's the one just because she gives us the brain, which helps our Sixth Sense, our Read the Signs, and our Spectral Razor, and our Enchanted Bow.
Yeah, 100% then.
Okay, I don't think we need any more survival. Our hand slots are full. We have Guiding Spirit for our ally. We don't need Granny Orn. We have Guiding Spirit.
Okay.
We could drop Guiding Spirit realistically and play Granny Orn.
Yeah,
that
she's
might
probably
be
better.
And that makes our deck even easier to get out there. Okay. I don't think we need more survivability.
What's that? I guess Dark Horse would not be good in this deck, would it?
It is if we find a way to spend our resources, which should be pretty easy.
Yeah, because I was thinking especially with this, that Dark Horse or anything that gives you just a static bonus to all of your stats would also make this deck a little stronger.
The only thing is we have the Unscrupulous loan, which might make it a little bit harder to get back to 0 if we do play it. True. We could cut the loan, put in Dark Horse, and find ways to make that work.
Yeah.
The only thing is that I think then what we do is we trend away from the idea of...
the exiles?
Yes.
And focus on just the static bonuses?
Yeah.
That would probably make you just better as Ashcan Pete, though.
Well, yeah, Dark Horse would be a better Ashcan Pete deck, right? Because it is a good Ashcan Pete deck. Because you play like Fire Axe, Mariner's Compass. But I think if we want to do this, our goal is to have money so we can keep playing Flare and like...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
Okay. There's this new card called Hunter's Instinct. Limit 1 per investigator, uses 3 supplies. If there are no supplies on Hunter's Instinct, discard it as a reaction. After you engage an enemy, spend a supply and exhaust Hunter's Instinct. Add a level 0 event in your discard pile to your hand. So we could use this to get back Read the Signs and Spectral Razors.
Yeah. So
we can run 2 of those. And let's just assume for a second, we're probably going to fill the rest with like skills and events, I think. Let's assume for a second the cards do not leave the game. Right? Yeah. They do go into your discard pile. We're probably going to want to play Resourceful on this. Because then we could like grab a flare back from the discard pile.
Absolutely, I was just about to suggest that. We need a way to recur.
We probably want some economy in the form of Take Heart to draw cards. And then we need 5 more. And I think we just take...
What was that Last Chance card?
This card right here is commit only to skill test when other cards committed. Other cards cannot be committed. It loses 1 for each card in your hand.
Oh, okay. Not so good.
It's not terrible, but I think it's not great in this deck's idea of what it wants
long
to
shot
do.
Is always good.
It is good. We might run something else.
Okay.
But this can help your damage. This can help your damage dealer deal 1 damage, which is kind of nice. But I think what we want to do is we want to just make sure that we are versatile.
Yeah.
So I have a few tricks up our sleeves. One of them is we're going to take this... Look what I found. Because after you fail a skill test by 2 less while investigating, discover 2 clues. I think... Are you an item? You're not. You're a spell. I think... What was the card I was looking at? Trial by Fire. During your turn, choose one of your skills. Until the end of your turn, set the base value of a skill to 5. We could buy one of these and have it be... Set the base value of each of your skills to 5 or the base value of one of your skills to 7.
Yeah.
We could run one of these in the game plan, right? It's a little bit cheaper. It's 3 experience, though. But what it allows us to do is we could play this card and then like round out the deck with like 2 luckies.
Yeah.
It does put us up to 20 XP to get this done. But like this right here, if we look at this creation, This is probably the closest I would consider to being a deck that if I was the Homunculus, I see what I would be trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? And I think this deck also is interesting because this is a deck that's designed to become a Homunculus.
Yeah.
And if you like get a bunch of XP, like say someone at your table plays Delve Deep, you can get earlier, so you could like maybe get the upgraded Granny Orn because she's very good, right? If I would remove cards from this deck, I would aim to remove like the I'll See You in Hell. And like realistically, you probably could go to 1 Granny Orn and be okay for the burn after readings.
Yeah.
The only thing is you want to make sure you get the burn after readings. You also could like not do the burn after readings.
And instead just put 2 of something else
2
in.
cards, and this brings us down to 18.
Yeah.
Did this scratch that itch?
I think it did.
Yeah,
I think it did.
Yeah,
now, I have a question for you.
Yes.
As Ashcan Pete, how bad is this deck?
So the thing about Ashcan Pete is because he has Duke, he could have all of his cards be blank and it'll be okay.
Okay.
Right? So like Ashcan Pete with the bow, he gets to attack at 5 still. Yeah. Right? Ashcan Pete with Spectral Razor gets to attack at 6. He gets to investigate at 6. The numbers actually stay the same for these cards.
Yeah.
The I'll See You in Hell, you never really want to be playing this card.
No.
Right? Same with like Trial by Fire. Like this one you don't necessarily need. But Ashcan Pete, because he plays with Duke, is not terrible. I wouldn't call this a good Ashcan Pete deck.
No.
But I also would not say that this is an awful Ashcan Pete deck. Because again, Ashcan Pete has that luxury where like he could like discard this card to ready Duke to investigate at 4 again.
Now, question: do we get to keep Duke as the Homunculus?
No, Duke will go away.
Oh, dang!
All signature cards get replaced with random basic weaknesses. Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah, signatures and weaknesses. Yeah. So the plus side is you only get 3, which sometimes people like Travis got Homunculus and had 4 cards that had to get switched, right?
Yeah.
Or only 2 rather. He had to get 3 switched.
Did his Homunculus survive?
No, he purposely tried to get killed in the next one. He's like, I ain't living another life like this. So the nice thing about the Homunculus is it also gives you the extra XP. So you could potentially get there quicker. I think if you were going to bring this to a 3-player game, which honestly, if we could ever get 3 players, I think you should do this.
Yeah.
I think you would have fun. Because you haven't really had the ability to play 3 players to see how much... You would be amazed at how much less pressure there is. How it feels... The number of players increases the space for players to solve your problems. In 2 players, if you're the fighter and I draw an enemy and you draw an enemy, you're like, I have to kill 2 enemies.
Yeah.
In 3 players, if I draw an enemy and you draw an enemy, you have to fight one of the enemies, but the flex can be like, I'll kill that one. So like even in this deck, you could be like, I'll just throw a Spectral Razor and kill that guy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Or like, I'll throw a Flare and then I'll engage your enemy with, and then I'll pick up a Spectral Razor with my Hunter's Instinct, right?
Yeah.
It's like a lot more open, just as the number of players get. So maybe we could find someone to be the 3rd so you could play this deck, because I think you would have a great time doing it.
I love it.
If people want to see this deck in action, let me know in the comments. And if you at all support these zany thought experiments, you can definitely let us know as well. This was interesting, because I didn't think it was possible. But I'll be honest, I think that if I had to bring this deck to a campaign, I could probably win it. Like in 3 players. I think I could probably win a campaign with this deck. Because honestly, you're not going to die. You have so much soak, right? Like you have the Cherished Keepsake and the Leather Coat.
Yep.
Like that's crazy. You have like the cancel effects. And again, this deck could just fall apart if they do rule, or if they've already ruled that it doesn't work this way. But I think this is a very unique, great work situation that I'm happy to at least put together here and try out.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, or you can let us know in the comments about any crazy ideas that you have for the great work, because turned out it's kind of actually okay. Yeah. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one, and as always, GG's.